Hey there, I'm Sheryl Goodwin-McGarrah, your go-to guide for life's messy and magical moments. As a farm girl turned single mom, I often wondered what life would look like after my kids were grown. Turns out, it was all about rediscovering and loving myself first. On this podcast, we'll dive into topics that touch the soul, like love, loss, triumphs, and setbacks. So grab your favorite drink and buckle up. Welcome to the Imperfectly Charming podcast. Hi, and welcome to another episode of Imperfectly Charming. I'm so glad you're here today because if you've ever found yourself stuck in the loop of should I, shouldn't I, what if I choose wrong, then you are in the right place. If you're anything like me, making decisions can sometimes feel like walking into a sushi restaurant with a conveyor belt full of options flying by at lightning speed. You want to choose the right one, but there are so many possibilities, and before you know it, you're overwhelmed, frozen, and maybe missing out. For me, indecision often comes with second-guessing, procrastinating, or that sneaky inner critic whispering fears of, what if I get it wrong? And yet, I've learned that not deciding is still a decision. It's choosing to stay stuck right where I am. Ugh, ouch. So today, we're going to talk about how to move from that frustrating place of indecision into clarity, confidence, and action, because your inner wisdom already knows the way. Sometimes it takes just a little courage and maybe a good pros and cons list to hear it. So let's dive in and explore how we can make decisions from a place of hope and not fear. Let's go. Before we dive into today's episode, I want to share something close to my heart. I've created a soul-nourishing course called Conversations with My Soul, a gentle guided journey to help you reconnect with your inner wisdom, quiet the noise, and listen deeply to what your soul is longing to tell you. If you've been craving more clarity, peace, and purpose, I invite you to check it out. You can find all the details in the show notes and at imperfectlycharming.com. Now let's get started with today's episode. Nothing happens until you decide. Make a decision and watch your life move forward. Oprah Winfrey. I don't know about you, but I often find myself in a quandary over an important decision. It may be the Gemini twin sun sign in me or some other factor like avoidance or even perfectionism. I can second guess myself for fear of getting it wrong, or after I make a decision, I may wonder if it was the right one. Ugh. What I know is by procrastinating and not making a decision is actually making a decision of no action, which leaves me stuck right where I am. I'm not listening to my inner wisdom, but rather letting my internal critic run the show. My judge pushes me to make decisions or not out of fear, anger, anxiety, scarcity, or the like. Although I can make some quick decisions on the spot, I often envy people that have no trouble ever deciding. My mom and sister know right now and often don't understand how their innate method doesn't work for me. My daughter and I dined at a new eatery in a neighboring town that was the first conveyor belt sushi restaurant in the area. Although my daughter was very familiar with how they worked, I'd never seen or experienced that type of dining setup. You were supposed to grab any small portion sushi plate as it continuously rambled by. I was so intrigued by the endless options and the speed in which they traveled, I couldn't take my eyes off the system, failing miserably at reading every selection going by while attempting a conversation with my daughter. At one point, in the background, I faintly heard her say, "Mom, Mom, Mom, Sheryl!" She noticed how overwhelmed I was by all the possibilities. She thought it would be best for her to pull the plates for us to share until I got the hang of it. Once I settled in and got the lay of the land and conveyor belt, I was able to navigate my choices better. I mention this story as a fun metaphor for coming to a resolution. It can often feel overwhelming at times, although there are many suggestions for making a decision. A friend recently reminded me of the simple way of using a pros and cons list. Applying this method along with my inner wisdom and intuition is what I'm going to try the next time I'm being hijacked by indecision from something important. May your choices reflect your hopes, not your fears. Nelson Mandela. The next time you hear yourself saying, decisions, decisions, it's time to listen to your inner guidance and take the negative emotions out of the situation. I'm going to do the same, and I'd love to hear your decision-making process. As a funny side note, when my daughter and I ordered items off the menu from our surfer, we didn't realize that there was a train track delivery system above the rotary conveyor that delivered our order, which remained until our waiter noticed it was still aloft. As we wrap up today's episode, I want to leave you with this reminder. Indecision doesn't mean you're weak, broken, or incapable. It just means you care. You want to make the right choice, and that's a sign of thoughtfulness, not failure. But staying stuck in the land of what-ifs only holds us back. When we decide, even if it's imperfectly, we move forward. We learn, we grow, and we give life permission to unfold. Remember Nelson Mandela's wise words. May your choices reflect your hopes, not your fears. That's a sweet spot. When we listen to our intuition, when we quiet the critic, and we lean into hope. Decisions feel lighter, clearer, and more aligned. So next time you're sitting at your own version of the conveyor belt sushi bar of life, don't let the plates just pass you by. Trust yourself. Grab what feels right and know that you can always adjust along the way. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'd love to hear how you navigate the art of decision making in your own life, because chances are we're all learning from each other. Until next time, may you make decisions with courage, hope, and a whole lot of self-trust. And remember, you are capable, you are wise, and you are never alone in this journey. This is Sheryl, and you've been listening to Imperfectly Charming. See you soon. If you love this episode, you won't want to miss my free gift to you, the Find Your Voice Workbook. Head over to the imperfectlycharming.com website to snag your copy. And hey, if this podcast resonated with you, do me a favor, like, share, and hit that subscribe button. Plus, leave a written review to help the channel grow. And until we meet again, shine on, friends.